Welcome to You and Me Conversations. You and Me is a series of queer BIPOC love stories. These modern entanglements are the kind of romances that make us lose sleep, love letters to the friendships we can't live without, and a celebration of our endless journeys of self-discovery. I wrote this book on a rooftop beneath the moonlight in conversation with my future self. Today, I'm in conversation with you and me. Today, I'm in conversation with Gayathiri Kamalakanthan, a brilliant Tamil writer based in London who writes with curiosity about how language shapes belonging and how we might use it to build freer futures. Their debut novel in verse, Bad Queer, is out now, and in this nourishing conversation, we are gifted with a handful of readings where we talk about all things chosen family, queer parenting, self-discovery, and of course, queer romance. Enjoy. We got to meet virtually because we have the same book cover illustrator, Chi, and we both want to show our books. But this little background thing might ruin it. But let's start with the shout out to our amazing illustrator because really I think for me and I bet for you too because they did like illustrations within your book as well
Mm.
really set the tone of kind of the type of story I was telling. And so it was such a great way to connect with you. Also, our pub dates, you were March 26th
Mm.
and I'm May 26th, with also I felt like there was some synchronicity there. So I'm so excited to have a conversation with you and then hopefully live in London one day. But until we get to that point, we have this virtual moment to talk about our writing process, our books, our stories, what we hope that you feel when you read them, as well as like the journey of writing for ourselves. And then we have a special recording today because we are going to read pieces from our stories and weave them together with these common themes. And I hope they fall somewhere in your heart that feels like you are seen and you are held. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds great.
So when we were emailing about this recording, you said this very delicious line, and I'm going to literally go to read it. So I want to get it right. And I want to start the conversation there. You said,
Mm.
rehearsing the future through writing. And I write a similar thing in my like explanation of how I write, which I say I write with a nostalgia for a new future.
Mm.
Feel like is like the same theme. So I would love to start there. Tell me what rehearsing the future through writing means to you.
Mm. So I think when you're writing, it is totally your world that you're building, your imagination is creating the building blocks for
Mhm.
this story, these characters, what's possible for them.
Mhm.
And if you think about, historically, our imaginations and the world as we know it has been populated by white supremacy, cis supremacy, and capitalism, these forces, because someone thought it up and then put it into practice. And now we all um, are sort of following the pillars of what someone made up in their heads,
Yes, yes.
um, and we're sort of under that control. And we can do the same thing, right? And imagine more freedom, imagine more bodily autonomy, imagine an expansiveness
Yeah.
for ourselves. And and I think, what we consume, what we read is creating the culture that we're in. And so my book and what I've heard of your book as well is um, putting these new futures into existence, So that's what I mean by we're rehearsing, we're really, brick by brick trying to build futures. And also, when we're unsure,
Hmm.
um, when for example, I currently don't know if I want to potentially have a bio baby in the future. And so writing Bad Queer was trying to imagine, these queer parents having this child. What are the politics that you're passing down? How do you talk to them about their body, about consent, about, what's happening
Mhm.
in the world currently?
Yeah.
Um, and and maybe I try for a baby, maybe I don't, but it was a sort of easier way
Yeah.
to practice, than actually doing the real thing.
Oh my gosh, I love this so much. I'm literally like smiling from the inside as you speak. There's just something so deeply nourishing and nurturing to hear someone speak like languages and words that like resonate so deeply with your values and hopes. So first of all, like as you speak, I'm like inside smiling deeply because I think that these are the ways when we talk about when we take our power back, this is
Mm,
the way. I always am like, I need to know more than what you're against. I need you to know what you're for. Because the for is the garden, and the for is the how, the for is the
mm.
movement forward. Knowing. So my line that I kind of parallel with that is this idea of a nostalgia for a new future, from a knowing that we already know the answer. We already have that information within us. Nobody has to give it to us. It's not a permission we have to ask for. It was already there. It was most likely stripped from us. We are reclaiming it. That is like your medicine, and you get to use that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. In one of your previous conversations, um, you talked about there's a story in your book where the parents are getting divorced,
Yes.
and someone asks, "Oh, what about the kids?"
Yeah.
And actually, in the story, the child sees the parent in a different relationship or with a friendship being loved.
Yeah.
And through the divorce and outside of that previous marriage, there is so much love to feel and to witness. And for that child to witness that is so powerful.
Mm.
And when you say, we already know how
Mhm.
to look after ourselves, there is a power that is already within us that has been stripped.
Yeah.
I think about, ultimately divorce or separating from someone, or, choosing a path that is right for you. That is about your autonomy, right? And choosing yourself, choosing a path that is um, more aligned with the life that you need to have to like become who you need to be. And I just think in a world where divorce is so taboo, where it is um, you can be called, oh, what about um the children being sort of separated from their et cetera, and are you being a good parent? All of those kind of misguided questions. I think I think just that tiny line
Yeah.
of, oh, I see my parent being so loved,
Yeah.
is reclaiming that power. So I just can't wait to read your book. And um like already it has been so like it has reminded me it's so fulfilling.
Yeah.
Um like, oh, I know the life that I want actually. It's just there are so many other distractions.
Yeah. Thank you so much. First of all, let's start there because it means a lot. So I started writing this book 5 years ago when I was going through a divorce, and I have two young children. So it's not too far from, my reality. Obviously, the book is fiction, the stories are fiction, the romances are fiction, but there is always a weave in which I was reimagining. I was reimagining as I was writing what it would look like, what I am yearning for, what is it that these baby steps that I'm taking or this mountain that I'm climbing, like what is it for? And I putting it into different love stories was my way, just like practice parenthood. I got to practice what love looks like after,
Mm,
what love could possibly be where I feel held, where I feel seen fully.
Mm.
And so these stories, these seven couples were my way to play with like different interpretations of that. I
Mm.
think that this is like the perfect segue. So we've talked about kind of there's so many themes that I think our stories weave, and there's so much we can talk about, but for the purposes of a, 40-minute recording, we picked three themes to play with. One was this chosen family, self-discovery, and then obviously romance. But let's start with the self-discovery piece, if that feels good, because I'm gonna read a little piece, and then you will read a piece about exactly what you just pulled out. So I'm like, actually, I have the exact little clip that I can read.
Ah,
So
nice.
it's from the same story that you're referencing. It's just a separate part, but on the theme of like how we discover ourselves through these
Mm.
transitions, through these evolutions. So, I am reading a small piece from Luna and Noura, and it goes like this. My divorce had burned me, buried me, dragged my soul through the depths of my shadows. I was just coming up for air, albeit slowly, remembering how to breathe on my own. It was my choice to leave, but that didn't make the process any easier. I was heartbroken but free, grieving but relieved, a dichotomy of feelings on a blank canvas of a future self that I had yet to meet. Everything was new, daunting, and exciting. I was ready to choose me, all of me, parts of me that I had forgotten, parts I had yet to discover, and I was free to do so. It was a type of freedom that I didn't realize I'd be missing until I had it again. Like, oh shit, this was missing all along. I had no
Mm.
idea. My ex-husband adored me. He adored me so much that he caught me and didn't let me go. I was everything until I wasn't. A butterfly he admired so much, so he caught it and pinned it and then resented it for not flying. Then I forgot how to fly. I forgot that I could. I forgot that I was even a butterfly. At first, it was all in slow motion, apathy disguised as safety, so exhausted with two young children that any change felt impossible. Then it started to get fast, too fast, like I was going to drown if I didn't get out. The air in every room dissipated, my chest always tight, holding my breath around him, walking on eggshells. No one saw it coming, not even me. One moment, I felt like I can do this. And the next, I knew if I didn't leave, I'd be lost forever. And that's the piece.
That's so powerful. Really, your writing is very poetic, and um, I feel like this sense of so when I had my first sort of breakup with the first person that I had fallen in love with, um, I had this sense of like hitting rock bottom, but also knowing that when I moved through this, and once I had moved on from it, that I would feel invincible,
Mhm.
and there was that like deep knowing in me,
Mhm.
that it would come and just time and friendship and, the more love that I could give to myself,
Mhm.
like eventually I would like meet the person I would become.
Yeah.
Um, And yeah, that dichotomy is so painful and also kind of magic,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, love.
I love it. Thank you. And it's back to that knowing. It's like it sucks and it's so dreadful. And that knowing keeps like just in the back of your mind and your back of your heart. It's like
Yeah.
you're aligned. It
Yeah.
feels like shit, but
Mm,
you're in alignment. And
yeah.
so that is like the right heart, I always call it the right heart step.
Yeah. And it's propulsive, right? Like, yes, sometimes you're like deep in your duvet and like you can't move, but
Yes.
also you know that there is this like dark, propulsive, energetic, like rock in you that's
Yeah.
gonna be moving.
Yes.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Okay, your turn.
Okay, so the sort of self-discovery that passage that I'll read is so Surya is the main character in my novel, and they are 17. They are sort of dating and falling in love for the first time. They have a trans parent and a queer parent, and that unit is really what I was focusing on. And I really want to see more queer and trans families, because that is the world that I'm living in. And I think we're going to get it more and more with books in the future. So Surya is um, about to go to this Tamil family function, and they're wearing a kurta. And when I say kurta, um, in this context, I mean a sort of Tamil um, dress shirt that is traditionally worn by boys.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, we bought this kurta a couple of years ago in Wembley. I hadn't wanted to try it on in the shop. I didn't want judging eyes telling me that these kurtas were made for boys, or inappropriate, or wrong for my body. Mum was ready to argue with anyone who objected, but I didn't have the energy. Even watching from the sidelines can be exhausting. So instead, we moved to Plan B, traipsing through the narrow store, our hands fluttered between rows and rows of silk and chiffon, the familiar scent of sandalwood rising up in curls of smoke from sticks of incense dotted about the room. The shop owner was by our side in seconds, asking what we were after. "We're looking for kurta suits," said Mum. Then she turned to me and said, "Surya, you're about the same size as Ravi. Try some on. We'll get an idea of what looks good." The shop owner paused briefly, eyeing me up. "Let me show you what I have." Giggling and giddy, me and Mum racked kurtas up to our elbows. In the changing room, I slipped loose fabrics over my vest, buttoned up collars, and posed for pictures to send to Amma. Handing me kurta after kurta, Mum had been just as excited as me. "You're glowing, Kunju. I love seeing you this way. My body feels good in a kurta. It's the light cotton against my torso. It's the solidity of the wooden buttons. It's the not itching to get out of it. It's resisting assumptions about who I am. It's the lightness in my chest. It's the absence of weight. It's the comfort of neutral. It's being myself."
This is gonna
Oh.
be an interesting recording if I cry every time you read. Well, this
Mm.
is how I feel. I'm clearly like I don't maybe not clearly. I'm clearly like the mom. So I can feel it in my body. Um, oh, I can feel it in my body so deeply as a parent. That did not, sorry, I really didn't expect it.
That's so beautiful to experience. Thank you for your emotion and your feeling.
Yeah, like I feel like such a deep sense of joy
Mm.
for them, like as in a parental role, because I can feel my child. And I love that it's so simple, but I love the line of
Mm.
like you, like them knowing that like the mom will like defend.
Mm. Yeah.
Like even like I still want to go through that mom like I like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I know that dynamic, but I also know me as Mama Bear, like I will murder. to get my child what they need. I will do whatever it takes. And that kind of that interesting, like that line was so simple, but I knew exactly what that meant. Like, even though I have this support, I have this love, I have this knowing in my family unit, I still have to come out in society and deal with all the places in which a parent cannot control,
Mm.
which is a daily, like, kind of reality. I can create these systems in my home, I can create these systems within their bodies so they know they're loved. And then they go out in
Mm.
the world, and I can't control that. And they can't control that. And that's going to be something they still have to climb. That's part of their own journey to discover within themselves and through their experiences. But you saw how I reacted. So I love it. And that just that sense of home within the body, because you get
Mm.
to choose what is aligned for you,
Mm.
knowing that it like that in itself should not be a mountain to climb. And yet here we are,
Yeah.
right?
And also just that euphoria of
Mhm.
being able to wear something and actually it just feels so you
Yeah,
and the way that you're seen by the ones you loved being so aligned,
yeah,
right? And we're like co-creating ourselves with our community. And I think, I really feel raised by the queer friends that I've made in my adulthood.
mhm,
I always say that we get to live our queer adolescence at any age because often, and like speaking for myself, I didn't get to feel that freedom
yeah,
of that kind of giddy queer adolescence when I was a teenager, because there was so much repression, so much compulsory heteronormativity.
mhm.
And so now I feel, really um kind of sprightly in, oh, I can go and pick out what I want because I have that autonomy now and just the simplicity is powerful.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I mean, I feel like you keep giving us perfect segues.
Okay.
So we can move on to chosen family if you like. We can do our little passages on the chosen family. Would you like to go first this time?
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Also, side note, you're really inspiring me because I'm imagining a sequel to You and Me right now. And
oh,
I feel like I should lean into parenthood. I avoid, like, I kind of don't do, but as you're talking, I was like, okay, more stories on parenthood. Okay. Like,
yeah.
I think that I might lean into one of the stories on parenthood.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as more and more of people in our generation, like the queers in our generation, have families or, have children in their orbit, I'm really craving
Right.
these like family stories and how we do it, um, in a world that isn't designed for us, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah, I started writing some of the stories, and one of them is like two a married couple who've been married for like 17 years, two women who are going through perimenopause.
Mm,
And everyone who I tell, they're like, oh, we need it so bad. And I'm like, it's so funny. These are like unsexy topics. Like parenthood's not that sexy in a romance.
mm,
Like perimenopause is not that sexy in a romance, but actually it's so like a craving to
yeah,
see what it looks like to love each other through seasons,
yeah,
through evolutions, through
mm,
transitions. Like that is the truest romance, is to see
yeah,
how we love ourselves and each other
mm,
on things that happen within our homes or in the ways we are evolving. So yeah, it's clearly I'm not following like the clear like romance template, but I never
mm,
did it the first time. So
yeah,
I probably won't do it again, but I think it's more exactly like what you're saying is I'm curious about the pulse of like our needs in our reimagining. And I think
mm,
they have to be as on the ground as possible.
mm.
So it's not so far away. It's like, oh, this
Mm.
is like how I wake up in the morning next to my partner.
Yeah. Like it's real. And also, the dread and the um oh God, I have my period and it makes me feel all sorts of weird gender stuff, but
Yeah.
also, is it even useful to me? You know? And
Yeah.
like, I want to hear about that stuff in a romance, you
Yes.
know?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you. Oh, yeah. So beyond the grand gesture, I need to know what the daily looks like.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll just do a little intro, which is, I think Chosen Family, for me, yes, has been about putting in the work to make friends where we didn't just meet out of convenience, but we are like trying to build a life together that feels good for every aspect of ourselves. And also the people that I'm stepping away from for the time being, because that investment of my time is like not energizing. It's sort of taking away um, from me feeling like I don't have to explain, you know, my politics, why I behave the way I do, or spend my money the way I do, or, you know.
Mhm.
So that stepping away, I think, is a learnt thing. It's a practice because it's so hard.
Mhm.
Um, so when Amma talks about growing up with Tati and Tata, this is what they say. Finding home here in London was a struggle. Refugees were allowed but not welcomed. Tati and Tata didn't speak the language they were supposed to. Never a chance for their pleases to meet their thank yous, for their half-asked questions to meet answers. I translated Tata's soft-spoken Tamil through parents' evenings and doctors' appointments and social worker visits for people with clipboards and clipped voices who scored them carelessly as careless parents who had better things to do than help with homework or read bedtime stories of golden locked girls in towers rescued by straight-spined princes of empire because they were too bloody hell busy packing bags for life at Tesco down the road. I want to believe they tried their best, but my queerness didn't belong with them, so I found homes of my own till it did. Amma pulls lines from old diaries, paints their truth on canvas, how they were never only a boy and never only a girl. They tell me our Tamilness is something we've struggled with. It doesn't always feel like we belong in the community. But Orvia felt like the perfect chosen name. It means artist in Tamil, and Mum's name Ahalya refers to light. As humans, our power and light lies in our ability to create and recreate ourselves. Why limit what we can be? So, in that, I was thinking about as parents, how would you talk to your child about the reasons why you stepped away from your grandparents for a time, from some members of the community for a time, you know? And I want to be honest, you
Mhm.
know, with the young people in my life,
Mhm.
and also give them permission to think about, you know, who feels right to have in your inner circle? Do you need to step back for a while? Um, and the book is about um, not this cancel culture, but this sometimes you need to take time for yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and then when the time is right to go back and have those conversations and repair and build bridges, which is what Surya does eventually with the grandparents, and but it's sort of on their terms and in their timeline.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and I think that permission felt really important.
Yeah. I love this so much. First of all, I wrote down why limit what we can be. I feel like that should be the title of to this recording, your line. But I think this is so interesting because as you read and have these moments, I can like watch it in real time in my life. And so, and I never really did this thing where I watch it through my children's perspective, but you are doing that for me as you read your part. So I want you to know that it's doing something very new. I'm experiencing this because I've go through these transitions through my eyes. Your
Mm,
story is, I'm now seeing it through my littles, which is
mm.
such an like it's a gift. So first of all, thank you. I'm like,
Thank
oh
you.
yeah, this is how it's happening. So it's truly a kind of magical to have you read this right now. It's doing something that I did not expect. So yeah, I've had these conversations. I have these conversations, and exactly like you say, my goal is never to villainize. I don't
Mm,
believe in good and bad. I don't believe in the hero and the villain. I think this is how we get in trouble, first of all, in how
mm,
we relate to each other. But I do believe in showing my kids how I protect them and how I protect myself
mm,
as an act of like generosity and love for all parties involved.
mm,
Because I think that most of us ache with that in our own inner children, like our own inner selves. And so my way of trying to heal that within myself is to present it within with my littles in the sense of like this is what it looks like to be protected.
mm,
I think that unfortunately for many of us, like we were not protected. And so it's a deep wound. It
mm,
shows up in all relationships and in all ways. And it takes away our softness.
mm,
And softness is like our birthright. And it gets over like buried under like hyper independence and kind of like
mm,
competence because all from the root of never being truly protected.
mm,
And so I really lean into how to stay soft in myself and in my
mm,
kids. And part of that requires these types of conversations.
mm,
And like little things that come up that don't have to be even so big is both my kids have long hair. They're boys and they get misgendered all the time. And I didn't really care because I don't really believe in any of it mattering until they are at a time and age where they decide what that means for them.
mm,
But my eldest asks me constantly to like correct people now, which is like an
mm,
interesting thing. So it's his request, so I honor that request.
mm,
But when I get comments from grandparents about the length of their hair being this or that, I set a very clear boundary where I was like, if you want to be in relation with these kids of mine,
mm,
these comments are not allowed.
mm,
I would love for you to have relations. And
mm,
also, the moment this comes up, you were no longer in relation. Not as a
mm,
thing, but my job is to protect
mm.
them from not absorbing and imprinting these really useless ideas.
Yeah.
Like it's like who cares
Mm,
into their bloodstream where they have to, without even it meaning anything to them, start adjusting to something
mm.
that was never theirs to begin with.
Yeah. And then sort of becoming further and further away from themselves.
Yeah.
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 So it can be something so minor like that to much bigger things where, people are no longer in our lives and I have to say like, we love them and we like send them love, but
Mm,
we are worth being like held and cherished in other ways that it's not happening currently in the current dynamic.
mm.
And it's an interesting thing to walk along, an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old having these types of conversations. But I hope the only thing you can do is like later in life when it's them, they have muscles already.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is them learning. You know, Adrienne Marie Brown talks
Mhm.
about a boundary being how you love someone else and yourself simultaneously. And when I heard that, I found it so clarifying to me because, yeah, if I'm unable to love myself in physical proximity to you because you aren't accepting, embracing, loving of how I be in the world, then I'm not going to compromise
Hmm.
um the fullness that I give to myself, and therefore there will be distance.
Yes,
Um yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Um, yes, and like, and not skipping the steps like we started with, like, this person's bad and we're like, it's not that. It has actually nothing to do with that. And so it actually just it disturbs the way in which this love works. And
Mm,
instead is like, these are my core values. These are the
mm,
things I believe deeply. And so if I'm in a
mm,
relation with someone who harms them or hurts me in ways that override some of these values, that is
mm,
not loving towards me. It's not loving towards you. It's not even loving towards them. And
mm,
so we can, like, distance
mm,
ourselves out of an act of love.
yeah.
These behaviors harm me and I
Mm.
cannot be in relation with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so
Mm,
my chosen family piece is not going to be that deep. It's going to be kind of ideally humorous. So I picked the whole book is friendships. It's like riddled with friendships. It's a very chatty book. They're always kind of like gossiping, and there's group chats, and there's just constant friends and chosen, like the way that friends show up as a chosen family. I really
mm,
leaned in because I know I am not, I would have never been the person I am without my friendships. My friendships are decades old. We have traversed time and space together in so many versions of each other. And they are family in all the ways. So they show up in every single story. So I had a lot of choices, but I actually picked a part that's just kind of funny, just kind of a typical. Hopefully, like, people just know it from their own friend group. I thought it would be a funny one to pick for today. So this is from the chapter of Paz and Ale, Vancouver early evening. What do we have here? My friend Louis says as they spin me around, checking out my black faux leather midi that leaves nothing to the imagination. You like, babe? I ask. Nina, the tits, the ass, they all came out to play tonight. Me gusta, Luis declares as they flip their hair. Sometimes you gotta come with. Honey, it's giving dominatrix, and I'm here for it. It's giving your girl finally submitted the final edits to her book last night and is ready to let loose. Ay, amor, felicidades. My baby's going to be an author. They clap enthusiastically. Author. Finally. I've been a journalist for over a decade, but book hits different. Wander Taste is a collection of my travel pieces through the lens of food. A food and travel meet cute. Gracias. I smile with pride. Only your workaholic ass has us going to a work event as your celebration. Since when do you refuse free food and drink? True. Louis snaps, pointing at me, laughing at themselves. My phone rings with a call from the lobby. I buzz Kasia in. Cash is here, I tell Luis. Luis goes to my open door and stands there expectantly with their hand on their hip. Finalmente mujer, late as always, Luis scolds Kasia. It's true, she is ish. But I told her the wrong time on purpose, anticipating her perpetual lateness, so we're actually right on time. Is that my dress? Kasia looks at me, ignoring Luis's protest completely. It is, I smile. I forgot all about it. I was hoping you would, I wink. So are we going to actually be fed tonight? You know, some of these restaurant openings forget to actually serve food, Kasia complains. Yes, you'll be fed. They're doing a series of closed events to showcase their family style menu. Limited people, lots of food. Perfecto, vamos, Luis exclaims. I'll drive. I'm not drinking tonight, Kasia announces. You don't have to ask me twice. I'm planning to get lit, Luis celebrates. Please don't embarrass us, Kasia warns them. Yes, Mom, Luis lets out with a groan. We grab our things and head for the door. And the hair is all out too, Luis whispers to me, twirling my waves around their finger. Someone's getting in trouble tonight. Here's hoping. I wink, knocking them with my hip. What's it?
Oh, it's so fun. I can just like so imagine that like it's really cinematic, you know? Um yeah, it's just like being with my friends.
That's
Yeah, I
exactly
love
what
it.
I wanted you to feel. That's exactly what I wanted to feel.
Yeah.
I think part of these stories is like the relatable. I really was wanting it to like feel like I was in your home, I was with your friends. Like
Yeah.
it's you and you are seen. Because sometimes I feel, especially when we're writing stories that come from populations where we focus a lot on harm, which is real and
Mm,
true, we
mm,
forget that the reality of the place in which we're all common in the best of senses, like the way
mm,
that in which the joy, the desire, the lightness
mm,
is also our right and our true place of power. And so while we talk about these hard, true, complex realities,
mm,
systems that plays that in play that harm us, I also want us to remember like the beauty and the lightness that is weaved within that story. Like there's no reason one
mm.
has to outshine the other actually. And if we can
Yeah.
walk them in tandem, if we can walk them together, that is where I believe our wholeness lives.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think that is a great segue to
Okay.
the love and romance
Yay.
bit. Which so I think I thought that
Mhm.
Bad Queer was quite a sort of serious, like political um book. Like when I started writing,
Yeah.
um, and yes, it is, it's about
Mhm.
trans futures and it's about what does consent look like? And actually, if you're writing scenes that are consensual, that do center pleasure, um, then it's fun and it's romantic and it's silly. And and I think that kind of political romance
Mhm.
is where I've landed. Do you know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and this is what I'm going to read next is my favorite passage to read,
Okay.
because of that kind of whirlwind, like gushing, lovey-dovey feeling that I get.
Mhm. Okay, I love this.
Um, so this is Surya falling in love
Mhm.
with Blessing, who is a boy that they meet at youth theatre. And she did this really wonderful illustration. I'm going to try and show parts of it. Can you see?
Oh
Oh,
yes, yes, yes. It's like it's so ghostly
so
with this, but it's beautiful. Yeah.
um, and I think to also bring in some of the little kind of knotty, oh, what is this feeling? Am I falling in love? How do you know if the other person is?
Mhm.
Oh,
Right.
is all kind of part of it, like the high highs and then the
Yeah.
sort of glitchiness as well of being unsure of the kind of the newness.
Yes.
Um, okay. The next couple of weeks are a summer blur. Blessing and I talk all night. We swap story after story, fueled by 3 a.m. cereal and the blue light of our phones. When we're together, it's seconds before some parts of our bodies are connected. His elbow against my knee, his arm around my shoulders, his legs across my lap. We trek through the city's marshes and forests. He points to the plants he knows, like moonwort and tumble mustard, shows me their tiny crescent fronds and bright yellow faces. He uses they a bit more. I correct him when he doesn't. I glitch a bit less. Today I have a free house. We're in my room when Blessing asks if I want to go further. When I say, not right now, he doesn't push or demand a when or a why. I'll explain it to him soon, but I can't right now. Lately, when I think about unpacking sex or voicing the dysphoria it makes me feel, that tightening and shrinking and closing begins. On the phone that evening, I'm relieved that nothing has changed. Blessing isn't cold or distant because I said no. He's just the same. I sit in bed in his hoodie as he tells me another one of his stories. Anbu. At dinner on Friday, Tati tells me there are words for different kinds of love in Tamil, and I wonder if she can see it on my face. Anbu, the catch-all, unrestrictive, universal word for love. Pasam, the affection of a parent, of a bedtime story, of a head gently stroked to sleep. Kadal, a romantic, belly swirling, seeing stars kind of love. Moham, infatuation, that can't eat, can't sleep, want you now kind of love. Tati doesn't teach me this one, I look it up myself. Neersam, the love between friends, solid and soft, a life force when you have it. Tati tells me there are words for different kinds of love in Tamil, and slowly I let myself feel some of them too.
It's so good. It's so good. Oh my gosh. It's so interesting. Like you started reading and I was there as me again. I was like, oh, I love that feeling. I love that like new beginnings feeling. I love that like accidental touching on purpose feeling.
Yeah.
And it's like so glorious. And then again, I ended as a parent again, at the end. You
Mm.
are really gifting me with an opportunity. I really want to tell you. I will lean into this in the months as we speak and we hopefully see each other in the fall. I will tell you how it evolves in my body, but you have opened something I want you to know because
Thank you. Yeah.
it puts something, a reimagining of parenthood in a very intentional way right now in my body. It's like seeds
Mm.
because I could
Mm.
suddenly imagine this idea of the kids like having these moments and what my role would be
Um,
as parent. Like the giving of these words, like the understanding of the nuance. It
mm.
helps me look forward to a new type of relation and future that I did not have that I get to reimagine with my littles.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you.
absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
the gift. Thank you for the gift. Okay. I'll read my piece on the romance. So the whole book is seven couples, so the whole thing is romance, but I tried to pick one thing to read today that hopefully kind of encompasses like a little of how all these things like weave together, maybe, but we'll see how it lands. So this is from the chapter Nilu and Mariam, and it goes like this. Nilu listens to the song, slowly closing her eyes, almost drifting away. Mid-song, she opens her eyes and looks at me. You exposed yourself, Mariam John. What? Now I know you're a softie. I laugh out loud. I was not expecting that. I think you already knew that. I did, Nilu confirms with a grin. Something tells me you see right through me. Maybe. She winks. Dessert? I have Persian ice cream. Would you like some? You're spoiling me. She gets up to go to the freezer. I start clearing the table, taking the dishes to the sink. She takes out little bowls and fills them with saffron ice cream and adorns them with chopped pistachios. She brings a serving spoon to the sink where I'm soaking the plates. I grab it from her hand, teasingly, and lick the rose water infused cream from the spoon. And then, as if in slow motion, I take my mouth to hers. Our tongues taste sweet and fragrant. The kiss is good in a way that makes me want more, a lot more, but I'm not rushing anything here. This pace is working for me. It's good for me. I should cook for you more often, she says, releasing from our kiss. No resistance here. Finally, she emphasizes, rolling her eyes, throwing her arms up in relief, teasing me. I don't remember the last time a woman made me feel this nervous. I think about what Marcia said to me about me picking easy. I don't think they're wrong. I think sometimes after coming out, I just took what I could get for the fear that it would go away. I don't know
Mm,
how to explain it. Like, life is already hard, so why make it harder? Like, I didn't deserve to need more than what was offered to me. I don't
mm,
know. Whatever my excuse was before, this is different. Nilu is different. She sees me in ways that I honestly always wanted to be seen, ways that I wanted to see myself. We enjoy our dessert on the couch, laughing and telling stories. She tells me about her work in microbiology, specializing in immunology, and how she loves to get lost in the lab for days. I tell her about how I sometimes feel the same way writing code, my own labyrinth where I get lost trying to find the way out. I tell her about my family at Aurora, my friendship with Marcia. It's one of those nights where you truly want to be nowhere else but lost in conversation. Movie? Nilu suggests. Yes, any excuse to keep the night going. She grabs the remote and starts clicking through the streaming service suggestions. Craving anything in particular? She asked. What I'm craving has nothing to do with watching TV. Your choice, I say. It doesn't matter what we watch. I just want to be here with her. She clicks through the option and ends on a glass blowing reality show. Really? I joke,
mhm.
genuinely confused. You said my choice, she giggles. I did, you're right, but I didn't expect. I can change it, she offers. No, no, now I'm curious, I laugh. She starts the show and moves towards me on the couch, testing the distance, wondering if she can come closer. I pull her a little, and she takes the rest of the way, lays back between my legs. I wrap my arms around her from behind. This is good. This is nice. She pulls a blanket from the back of the couch and covers us. I could get used to this. I lift the hair behind her ears and kiss the back of her neck slowly. Her shoulders curl up as she leans into it. Her eyes soften. Her smile is shy. I breathe her in. She squirms at the tickle of my breath and giggles. She scrunches her nose. It is cute as hell. Sometimes the thing you resist is the thing you need most. She smells like spring, like new beginnings.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I feel like these stories, like what you read in particular, will like teach me how to live. Do you know what I mean? Um, like what you wrote about just the sentences are, first of all, gorgeous to listen to.
Thank you.
Um, and I love your voice, like your the voice that I'm hearing, but also like the voice in which
Yeah.
you write.
Yeah.
Um, the sentence about like I didn't think I deserved to want more. That's like you have articulated, and this is the thing I love about writing and reading is that someone that you don't know and you may never meet, and
Yeah.
I'm so glad that we have met now,
Yeah.
but someone on the other side of the world may have
Mhm.
articulated something that makes you feel so seen and less alone
Yes.
and like you're not lagging behind, you're just like trying to figure it out like them.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. Oh my God. I can't wait for us to be in the same room
Yes.
and to be like I want to hold your book and like and just like have a whole I think I will read it in one sitting and just have a whole day with it and with you. Do you know?
I know. I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
I really deeply appreciate it. This was such a project I did in my own head. So the idea that it's like you feel it, it is such a gift. Like I honestly don't know if anything has ever felt as special as this right now.
Mm. Mm.
For the sense of like this conversation, like your reaction,
Mm.
this conversation is truly a blessing. It really is. So thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. And um I don't say this lightly, but you know when a book really feels like it's it's like shaping you, but it's also sort of shaped by
Hmm.
sort of the collective experience of, people like us, if I
Yes.
can sort of say
Yes,
that.
yes, 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 yes. Exactly.
Yeah, and you're like, oh wow, like this book is my friend who
Yes,
like
that's how I feel
really,
when you're reading. I was like, oh, oh yes. Like this is that's why
yeah,
I said you have planted seeds
yeah,
somewhere. So
yeah.
yes.
And like the book gives a shit about me and us.
Mhm.
You
Yes,
know,
we
you know?
matter. We matter. These complex, like nuanced feelings matter. Like they deserve to
Yeah.
take space. Like even some of these things I lean into feeling a lot because I feel like I want to
Mm,
stretch the pages and be like, we can stay right here in this feeling. It is valid in it of itself to feel like, oh, this is new. Like
mm,
that gets to take space. Or, oh, I
mm,
don't know yet.
mm,
That gets to take space. Like take the page. I don't have to like need a climax and a plot for it. I actually think the feeling in
mm.
it of itself is so valid to take up words and space and
Yeah.
let us sit in it without like
Mm,
resolution. More about like my experience deserves to be expressed and felt,
mm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last thing I want to say is I feel like I could read just that small passage
Mhm.
over and over again, and like I would get something like nuanced and different from it each time, because it's like these characters feel so real and would like change as I change, or like my relationship to them will change as I grow and experience different things.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that. Okay,
yeah. Thank you.
in closing this delicious conversation that we will continue in the fall, and whoever is in London should come and play. But I wanted to also pull again from your original email that you said something amazing that I want to end on. And you said in the email, "Who are we after writing?" Yeah, who we are at writing after.
Who we're writing after?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like, get it right.
Yeah.
I love. Yeah, so I thought maybe that line, and I guess my miss saying it right now also like who we are after writing is also interesting. Who we are after
Yeah.
writing.
Yeah. Definitely.
So who are we after writing?
Um, so I think I am more compassionate
Hmm.
um to myself, to my elders, where we've had a lot of friction in the past about sort of misaligned ways that we feel we need to be in the world.
Hmm.
Um, but compassion because I have sort of written, characters like them, or, in the situations that they were forced to be in, migrating, escaping a genocide in Sri Lanka, and there's so much compassion for every character when they stumble or get things wrong or in lots of different degrees sort of harm, we harm each other, that's um being in relationship, like we will cause some harm, and then how do we apologize and how do we repair, and what is a true apology made up of? It's
Hmm.
yes, the words that you say, but it's also your future actions
Yeah.
after that. And
Yes.
so I think it's really made me examine my own behavior, and hopefully every time I write and read, um, it's it's showing me how to be a more compassionate person.
Mhm.
And then who am I writing after? Um, Definitely writers like Alok Vidmenon,
Mhm.
and then Bell Hooks, Toni Morrison. There's, yeah, passages sort of with permission that I've
Mhm.
re-quoted in Bad Queer that
Right.
they've written, because I really wanted to sort of show that lineage, because yeah, we're not writers if we're not readers, and
Yeah.
I think the people who read really
Yeah.
shape you. Yeah.
I love that so much. I think that there's part of this process that I came into, well, most of it, like 100% of it until now, that I was like ignorant in the best ways and completely naive in the sense that I had no idea what I was doing and why I was doing it because this wasn't my profession or my professional experience. And I think it gave me a permission slip that even now trying to write a sequel I don't have anymore because I have, you know, experience. But that kind of naiveness coming into this book allowed me to not know rules, not expect rules, not understand what I was supposed to do, which gave me freedom. So like after writing, I had I feel two things. I felt a sense of freedom that I don't know that I had the time or space to experience before. And mostly, I I felt whole. I felt whole. There's, over 20 different ethnicities, races, all BIPOC in the book. There is 11 languages. Like I said, it was really about taking space on
Mm,
places and people that don't usually get to. The conversations always have a mix of languages. You kind of saw it with the friendship piece I wrote. I don't really
mm,
translate the words because they to me are like equal to the English.
mm,
But part of all of that act was like the act of wholeness, where we don't need to translate ourselves to
mm,
exist constantly. And so I
mm,
think after writing, I feel more whole. I got to be a version of myself that I had yet to meet and now get to experience afterwards. Um, and that is a gift. And then in it, exactly like you said, as reading, like you now reading your piece, as I was like, oh, I get to experience wholeness in a new way by the way you wrote. So exactly like you said, like it's not only what we write and how we experience our writing, but now through your writing, through this experience of our recording, I got to be whole again through
mm,
your story. So I think that's the gift we give each other.
mm,
I hope that that's what our readers feel when they read our stories. And I hope that's what we feel when we read, future writing and past
mm,
writing, where we have more and more opportunities to be in our fullness
mm.
and in our expression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This honestly has been the highlight of my month,
Oh
really.
my
So
gosh, that means
thank you.
so much. I am so honored that you came into this conversation with such a beautiful heart and openness, and we got to weave our stories and our experiences. And it's a delight. I am just telling you right now, this is just the start. I hope that this just continues because the
Mm.
synchronicities are like a heart space. And for me, that means how we build the futures we want.
Mm. Book twin. Book twin.